Hey, so I just wanted to talk about something that frequently has been asked to me by a number of people, and up until this point, I've never really had like a good to me answer to give on this particular question or series of questions, two questions. But kind of now I do have one. And the biggest question, the number one question that I've been getting recently by a mix of some of my fellow people within the chronic illness community, those who have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and some of the comorbid things that come along with it in the mansion that live rent-free inside the mansion of Ehlers-Danlos, as well as some people who are just, I guess, just really curious or trying to do the same thing within their lives, also within the spiritual community. So I have this interesting mix of both people that are interested in this topic. The topic being, how did I do it? And it seems like a super broad question, right? It seems like such a woo question, but it's something that I frequently keep being asked. How did I do it? And the it being, how did I heal? How did I grow? How am I still alive? How am I still doing things? How did I do X, Y, and Z? How am I doing X, Y, and Z? And I think people are expecting me to have like a really simple explanation and answer for all the aforementioned things, but it's not. For the healthcare community, if you've not seen my documentary Diagnosis Uncertain, I feel like that's a great starting point for it because it will give you kind of the background of my life, of what I was going through, have been going through. And again, those of you who have Ehlers-Danlos, you understand it, you know this already. You don't really need the background of it, but still within it, you will maybe pick up some nuggets from it as well. But those outside of the health community, you should watch it because that's a huge component to what I'm about to say. My entire life has been a lot of constant fighting for my life, a lot of trials and tribulations within the spiritual community. We call it rite of passage, initiations, right? But it's been a lot of things just from birth, came out swinging, came out having to fight for my life. And that in itself sets you up on a path to have just a completely different experience in your life in general. And that one there is part number one of the potion of things, the conglomerate of things that have gotten me to the point to where I'm at. It kind of gave me this innate survival fighter, warrior spirit. Right. And because had I not had that warrior spirit, had I not had that resilience and the unwavering faith within God's source universe, I would have stopped and I would have given up. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of times where I thought about giving up and I tried. So, I mean, that is a thing. And there's a lot of you, if you're watching this, I want you to know, don't do it. Because there's so much more ahead of you that you've yet to see, you've yet to experience, and who need what it is that you're here to do. But beyond that, I had a lot of time in and out of the hospitals to think about what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And it's always just been about this higher purpose, this higher vision, the bigger picture, this grand plan for a world that's not here, that we can't see yet, that's coming to us, that's in the works. Even though I couldn't see it, I knew it, I could feel it. And that was my driving force to keep going, the innate knowing, the remembering of this world. But everything that I went through with my health, the constant deaths and rebirths, both metaphorically and physically, the pain, the suffering, the betrayals, the trauma, all the things, throughout all of it, it continuously, every single time that I went through something, I came back different, but better. I came back even more entwined with God's source universe, with the divine, with the spiritual realm, with the ethers, with the cosmos, everything that the physical eyes can't see. because of my deep connection with God Source Universe, I've been able to hear and immediately follow the intuitive guidance that I've been given. And along this path, God Source Universe has told me when it's time for me to stop doing something and when it's time for me to do something else. And that was no different with this medications, with going to certain doctors or doing, X, Y, and Z within the healthcare community, right? There was certain points, certain things that would happen. Like, for instance, when it was time for me to get off the Adderall, it's been almost 3 years now, but when that time was approaching, like there was this whole worldwide shortage of Adderall. But prior to that time, God Source Universe had already started weaning me off, telling me, hey, stop taking this. But again, disclaimer here, I'm not putting this out to anybody to say, just stop taking your shit, because that's not it. If you are on stuff that you need to be on, like you really need to be on, you don't need to stop taking anything. You asked, and I'm telling you. And that's just it. This is just strictly my personal experience and what happened with me. That's it. I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not advising anybody as a medical professional to be doing anything that could potentially harm your life. Full disclaimer here. But outside of this, God Source Universe had already been telling me there were certain medications. Nobody could get on the same page with anything across the board on my diagnoses, on what it was that I did or did not have, what I did or did not need to be on, and ultimately who's paying the price for that? Me, the patients, right? So in this whole conglomerate and whirlwind of confusion and chaos, I respectfully was like, I'm out. I'm a bow out here, because it's very obvious that nobody can get on the same page. Nobody knows what's really happening. And I'm tired of just having this medication added on top of this medication, on top of this medication, and the side effects were just building and building. And I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I just couldn't do it. Honestly, I made an executive decision to just decide it is probably more beneficial for me to take the risk of whatever may come of me being off this medication than me staying on all of these conflicting medications that nobody was checking to see if it was like conflicting, and then nobody wanted to be like, let's just get off of X, Y, and Z. Nobody wants to ever take you off medications, right? But I weighed everything up and just decided, after talking with God Source Universe, I'm going to go ahead and just start removing this and start removing that. And so I did. Gradually, I started removing. And again, if you've seen the documentary, like I held up the bag of like 20 something prescriptions, pill bottles that I was taking every day. And I just started. There were some, I'm not going to lie to y'all, there were some that God Source Universe was like, yeah, you can just stop that now. And I just did, because there was a lot, like I said, around 22 to 25 pills that I was taking every day. And I just couldn't do it anymore. So after that process of starting to slowly remove medications happened, that's when that time of the ADHD, the Adderall shortage thing happened. And God Source Universe had to prepare me for that one, because it's a heavy hitting thing. And if you've been on it for a long time, I mean, it can cause some wild withdrawal symptoms, which is also shitty in itself. But so that one was like I was just like parceling out my Adderall, where I think I was taking 2 a day. And so I went down to like 1 a day, and then I would skip that, like one day I would not take it at all. And then it was rough because I would just lay in bed all day like a vegetable, because my body was so dependent upon having that in my system for energy and to go into function. Literally, I just laid in bed and was like, I couldn't. So the days that I didn't take it, again, I went from taking the 2 a day to the 1 a day to the 1 every other day. And then it was 1 every 2 days. And then it was 1 every 3 days. And then eventually I got to the point where it was 1 a week. And then God Source Universe prepared me and said, okay, I remember I was dog sitting, And God Source Universe told me, okay, so we're going to stop this now. You know, this is it. This is the last time that we're taking this. And that's what happened. You know, and it's just, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was rough. And even still today, like, I'm learning my mind a lot better than I thought that I was going to be able to. But for those of us who do have neurodivergent minds, we're just different. Our brains are just different. My neuroscientist friend Val, Dr. Val Raitova, you should check her out on Instagram. Her Instagram handle is love_of_brain. Anyways, hey Val. Val is a behavioral neuroscientist, and she has told me frequently of this, where, you know, it's just, we just have different brains, you know, there's nothing wrong with us and we're not broken. We just have different brains that this world was not designed to help us function in, you know. And so I have spent the last year and a half now trying to figure out what works for my mind, what works for me. And I really highly recommend everybody do that, you know, with themselves, you know, to just learn yourself, learn who you are. And I think that's been the hardest thing for me, is learning what my ground zero is, learning what I'm really like in my homeostasis. Who am I really? Right? Because again, in that conglomerate of things that I was in, like, I was on a whole bunch of medications that suppressed who I really was. And so I had to start this whole process at 30 years old, 32 years old now, of, whoa, you know, who am I and what am I doing? And it's a whole feat, honestly. But for everyone who wants to know how it is that I did this, how did I get off of the things, the benzos, the serotonin things, the Adderalls, all the things, and this is it. I listened. I trusted, always trusted God Source Universe. I always trust above everything. I trust the information that I'm given. I have unwavering faith, and I'm just obedient to what God Source Universe tells me. And it's scary, you know, it's scary. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and act like it's just like a walk in the park, easy thing. It's not. Walking by faith and not by sight. Trusting the process, even when you can't see the progress, is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your entire life. Period. It really is. So I'm not going to like downplay this. I'm not gonna make it seem like it's just an easy walk, and it's not. It's not. And there is a lot that you have to go through once you begin this process. It's a lot. But remaining centered in your mind, body, and soul, and committing every single day to remain on this path and keep your mind, body, and soul connected. Like, you'll see there's videos where I'm working out and I'm trying to keep my body, my muscles strengthened enough. This is the Ehlers-Danlos part of it, to keep my muscles, my bones and joints from subluxing, from dislocating. But beyond that, having physical activity and exercise for me is like such a cathartic release and experience for me, for my mind. I can tell, you know, when I've not worked out for a little while, like I start getting amped up easy. You know, I get frustrated frequently, same as if I've not gone outside frequently. You know, I get riled up easily. That's that Aries rising coming through. But I can tell, you know, and your body speaks to you. Your body speaks to you so much, but a lot of times we just choose to ignore it. But if you tune in and you can listen, you can hear what it is that not only your body is telling you that it needs, or that what's wrong, X, Y, and Z, but you can hear the voice of the divine. And that's it. Anyways, I just wanted to make this. I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible, but we're at 16 minutes and that's just gonna have to be it. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or you want me to elaborate further, on any part of this, let me know. Until next time, be squad.